Until not so very long ago, you were but one of many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter you traveled the realm, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Y'shtola that the science would benefit from your aid, and no sooner had you joined us that you personally bested the primal Ifrit. Oh, that's Satan. Well, true, they could have just killed them right there. You have achieved a great deal in short time, and won fame in so doing. Alas, fame does not come without a price, as you will soon discover. We have guests, Magnanimous, or rather, you have guests. Oh goody, we get to join a great company! Ah, Lady Minfilia, radiant as always. I am given to understand that the Scions of Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero in their midst. I am here on the behalf of Mainstrom Grind Company of Limsa, to offer said hero a place of honor within our ranks. As you can see, Magnanimous, your recent exploits have garnered you the attentions of Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organization would have Ifrit's Bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. Well, if we're courting, does that mean I get to keep them as boy toys? What about the little one? They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of their high regard for you. Find myself wondering how word of Magnanimous deeds spread so quickly. That the immortal flame should know of her trump is to be expected, but the other grand companies? Eep! Ah, that was so cute! Your reputation precedes you, Mistress Munchicus. 'Tis no ordinary woman who can face a primal and emerge the victor. 'Tis no ordinary woman that's named Munchicus. The Order of the Twin Adder has need of valiant women such as you. Join our strength to ours, friend, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over Twelveswood. I would say she would be the perfect height, but I think the tower is still too short. What a pleasure it is finally to meet you, Mistress Munchicus. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing term. Eh, comrade! A woman of your talent belongs to the immortal flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Ul'dah. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend. As do so many others in Limsa. Long before the rest of the Eorzea took note, your name was well known to us, owing to your valorous deeds on behalf of our citizens. It is only natural that we should want you for Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together let us see Grand Vessel of Limsa to the shores of glory. Lady Minfilia? Very well. Though I'm quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation would help to clarify your thoughts on this matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are all-encompassing organizations empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respective city-states in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: Maelstrom of Limsa, the Order Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Ul'dah. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will be furnished with various rewards, some of which may well prove useful to you in your other endeavors. If you are agonizing over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make today need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your alliance to a later date, you are entitled to do so. And yet, I concede that it is no small choice to face. Ah, a thought occurs to me. You will of course recall the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I am given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing those addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? A fine suggestion. You're as wise as you're beautiful, my lady. Very well, let Magnanimous hear our leader speak, then return here with her decision. We eagerly await your answer. These are the guys that will provide us with our mount. That's why they're important. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed, and not best suiting to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a Grand Company nonetheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in itself, it's not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Magnanimous, and with it you're capable of doing untold good. You know the great power it is wont to attract attention. Not all of it is friendly. There will be those who will wish you ill, and must needs be one on the lookout for them. Yet, however vigilant you are but one woman. In the midst of a Grand Company, however, you will be one woman amongst many, a friend among friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid, the 12 known that we will have need for it as the days ahead. The Grand Companies seek to protect their own nations, we Scions on the other hand seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect that you will be afield more often in the future. As such, I have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It will allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. See, told you Thancred had one and could have just called Minfilia, but no, I had to run all the way here. Eorzea is changing, Magnanimous, and you have the power to help shape it anew. None can say what tomorrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. Is this friggin' speech have an end? No, it doesn't. Now it's time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Tataru. She will apprise you as to where and when the remembrance services are due to take place. Yeah. I think I'm gonna join Oldas because my original main is there. The only thing Grand Company influences is A, the kind of clothing you can buy, and B, PvP. And PvP is very much an afterthought in this game, so it really doesn't matter that much. God damn it! Nymphilia mumbles on for so long. And it's not voiced, so I have to read it all myself. Ah. Yeah. Yeah. I actually think remembrance ceremonies are voiced, but I don't remember. There might not be. Oh well. I won't die from talking. That would be a very funny death, though. She talked herself to death. Hooray. Hello. I'm sorry about the attention you're getting, Magnanimous. I might have sung you praises a little too loudly and often. to a few too many people. Next time, I'll be sure to hold my tongue. Literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know where and when the Remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of Twin Adder, will hold the first of the 3 services, and the Elder Seer Kan-E-Senna will deliver her address at Nikeru's amphitheater. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organizational challenges involved in assembling all of the involved parties, it's possible that the order of services might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next, you'll need to go to Ul'dah, where Flame General Raubahn Aladdin will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumored that there will be special guests. How exciting. Last but not least, you must make your way to the stateroom in Limsa where Mostrum's Chief Admiral Merwib will be giving her address. I'm not gonna try to pronounce her last name, it's a long one. The room is accessible via Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry, Xanthiel, and he will admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the Remembered services suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order. Though your record of the impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favor of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. Yeah, essentially wherever we go, that's where the first ceremony will be. What might... Oh, yeah, hold it. Like, you know, you stick it out and you put a hand on it and you go... and you hold it. And that's how you don't speak. You hold your tongue. Literally, if needed. Loading. Hooray! We're here. Okay, amphitheater. It's a pretty place for servers to throw some events. Some of them sometimes do. Because it's like a big stage and stuff. See? Celebration time!
I lost my son to the calamity. The 3 seed seers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body. Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seed Seer. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hyur and Elysian. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed. Each waking hour, a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable.
The twins that he's speaking about are standing like right here. And I don't like her that much either, but I'll let her talk on. She has a speech to make.
So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk the highways without fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
Oh, she actually speaks before you see her later on. That's amazing! She? Which one, the Kan-E or the twins?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood.
You mean these ones? We have spoken. She's the same race as the person in the Conjurers Guild, which is like an immortal children sort of race that you can't play as. There's very few of them.
Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united.
Yeah, the Pajal.
Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder's standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children.
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the forest.
We must think of the children is the first thing the audience says. But who will think of the children?
If
Maybe.
you'll permit me, Alfie, no.
Alfie, no.
And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
Okay, until... There is gonna be a point where they're gonna dress differently, and that's how you're gonna differentiate them. Until that point, his sister wears a little bow tie at like the end of her... well, hair, and it's like a little red one. That's the only difference in between their models. The Gridanians are unfortunate enough to have to contend with two beast tribes. The Ixal are unquestionably the more troublesome, being of naturally warlike disposition, and want to summon their bloodthirsty primal Garuda. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been on friendly terms with the Garleans, until recently at least. Alas, they have grown aloof, a change observed at roughly the time they summoned the primal Ramel. He gets a voice change for Heavensward, because a lot of voice actors changed, so he's gonna sound a little bit different. The Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict a last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, you may be assured that they do so in self-defense. As for the Sylphs, they are yet bound by a peace treaty, though one wonders how long it will be before it is broken. The Twelfthhood was grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, will put an end to their woes. Yet how long will that take? Centuries, I'll wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal will continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to an all-out war, and when it does, the Order of Twin Adder will need all help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove to them then? It's like, join us! In reality, the Twin Adder are the worst ones in PvP. If you ever play that game mode, I suppose it's because peace-loving people join it. It's not a woman, but the newbie has a little bit of a softer voice. Do remember that he's supposed to be like a teen... I think it's a lesson that the elves people are called. So he's what, like 14 human years? Weird decades, 11 years, having in mind that elves always live for longer.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanama herself!
And Raubahn as well.
angels of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore.
That's why I like the flames. I like both him and their tiny little sultana. He's just so passionate about her, it's cute.
Hurrah! Raubahn! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold.
Okay, so it's not UI dynasty, it's Ul.
Where by the grace and glory of Naldar have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
Yeah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden, and enthralled.
I'm sorry, but I just love the energy that he speaks of the lines with.
Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth.
Thump thump, thump thump.
We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall.
See guys, you're making the little princess sad. Don't make the little princess sad. Be better people.
Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people. Ya for Ul'dah!
Together we are one.
Your grace.
Raubahn?
She's so cute.
People of Ul'dah, I, Nanimo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Ul'dah, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the inferno, for we are by fire reborn! Forsooth!
The time is now!
I fancy meeting you again.
Yeah, work for me and I'll make it worth your while on spiritual level, of course. Well, it's kind of true. I mean, if the city that you're living in is rich and without problem, you have less problems becoming rich. No flying my princess. Throw. The Old Downs have a long history of conflict with the Eorzea, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you have encountered them. The Old Downs do not shy from confrontation. If aught threatens their precious property, they will seek to crush it. So have they dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his flames each time he's stoked to life. Yet he is but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Garleans have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Ul'dah has no clear policy on how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless, and even assuming they had the coin, resources will never be infinite. Which brings me back to the subject of Ifrit. It has been observed that the Eorzea are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Ul'dah send their forces to smite the primal, and though they inevitably succeed, each victory is bought with blood. It is a war of attrition, which they cannot well sustain. Small wonder then that the Immortal Flames are eager to recruit more members. At such desperate hour, an adventure of your experience would be most welcome addition to their ranks. Hey, at least they're not sitting between the two tribes going, mostly avoid conflict. We don't want to hurt anybody. Yeah, at least they're very forward about everything.